Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Mormon Atheist. We have finally made it out. So we've had quite a lot of grief going on right now. We've had a whole bunch of just stuff stacked against us, right? So I want to start out by welcoming everybody. Like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would like to say, apostate congregation, thank you for sticking with me through this. Really, like the whole month, right, has been just a crazy month. We've had people offering us money. We've had people shutting us down. We've had people just doing all sorts of crazy stuff. And this was actually scheduled for yesterday on Sunday. Today's Monday. I wasn't able to get it out. There's just been a ton of problems. So, and the problems from yesterday stem from everything that happened 2 weeks ago. So, or last week or whenever it was, I've lost track. There's been so much craziness happening. So anyways, with all that said, I want to get started with the topic today. So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the Book of Commandments. Okay. So for those of you that don't know, is what this is the Book of Commandments is from the Church of Christ. Okay. The Church of Christ is Joseph Smith's original church, right? So, and this is also the Book of Mormon from the Church of Christ. This is not the Brighamite Book of Mormon. This is a very different book. The underlying story ultimately is the same, but there's a lot of differences, right? You have to remember, this is the original Book of Mormon. This is not the Brighamite Book of Mormon, which is this guy right here, my 1984 Book of Mormon. Okay, so there are a lot of differences though. And so we're not talking about the Book of Mormon, we're talking about the Book of Commandments. So what is the Book of Commandments? Well, all of you Brighamites know that the Book of Commandments, you would know them as the Doctrine and Covenants. Okay, so the Doctrine and Covenants is a very, very different book. Like, it's night and day difference. It's a totally different set of commandments. But let's talk about the obvious though, right? So the Book of Commandments, right? And we'll open it to the first page here. The Book of Commandments it's published April 6th of 1830 by W.W. Phelps and Company, right? Copyright 1833. So when you open it up, it starts out very different. These are called revelations, not sections. In the book, in the Brighamite Doctrine and Covenants, let's open it up and I'll give you a quick reference here. So in the Brighamite Doctrine and Covenants, they're called, everything's broke down into sections, not revelations. So it's section 23, section 1, these sorts of things, right? So section in the Book of Commandments, okay, stay with me guys on this. The wording gets a little bit difficult to kind of follow, right? So the Book of Commandments, everything is referred to as revelations. In the Doctrine and Covenants, everything is referred to as sections, okay? So that's one of the differences right off the bat, right away. That you're going to notice if you know what, and I do highly so I got these at the Church of Christ in Temple Lot, Missouri, right? When I went there on my travels, I stopped by there and was talking to one of the caretakers of the place, curators, whatever you want to call them, the tour guide, whatever you want to call them, right? and we talked quite lengthy for a couple of hours about the differences between the Church of Christ and the LDS Mormon Church. And so this guy was fascinating. He would reply to me in scripture. Everything that he said was in scripture, and it was fascinating. There's an airplane that just went over. I don't know if you heard that or not, but so everything that all of his responses to my questions were in scripture from the Bible or the Book of Mormon, right? And I couldn't get a straight answer out of the guy for anything. It was all hyperbole scripture, and just, it was insane. It was so entertaining though, to talk to this guy. And we ultimately ended up exchanging phone numbers and stuff. And I asked him actually to come on this podcast for this episode. And he agreed, and everything was all set to go, and everything was ready. And, shit hit the fan, and he, for whatever reasons, somebody contacted him, and the thing is nobody even knew I was going to be talking to this guy. And somebody contacted this guy and told him not to talk to me because my thumbnail was this book. And so, obviously they're going to know exactly where that came from, right? The powers to be, you know what I mean? So it was just this huge conspiracy, right? This total conspiracy, right? It's been an absolute insane couple of weeks. So anyways, so he's not joining us tonight, obviously, right? So let's get going with the Book of Commandments here. So we're going to get into some good stuff here. So the last revelation in the Book of Commandments is 1832. Okay, 1832. Let me see. I'll find it here for you. It's the last one. Oh, I'm sorry. I lied. 1831 is the last revelation. Let's get on the screen there. The last revelation is 1831. Okay, there's 65 commandments in the revelations in the Book of Commandments. 65. Okay, that's it. Only 65. The last one, and you have to remember, this is Joseph Smith's original church. So there's countless evidence that Joseph Smith died in 1834, right? Not 1844. He did die. A character by the name of Joseph Smith died in 1844, but he also died in 1842 as well. But the 1834 account is the original account of Joseph Smith dying, right? And you can go back and look at my other videos where I very clearly state that, right? And show you evidence for that. And you can go to any archival newspaper and look it up for yourself, apostates, that this Joseph Smith, the Mormon prophet, got his leg amputated and died 3 days later in 1834, right? In 1842, Joseph Smith, the imposter, dies. In 1844, Joseph Smith, the imposter prophet, dies. Okay, and they all die of different things. And if you look at the church, in 1834, right around 1838-ish, the church changes. In 1842, the church changes again. In 1844, there's more changes, right? And in 1844, shortly after, is when they go west, right? So you can actually trace when each one of these, so-called prophets die. There's a whole bunch of stuff that change in the church. And then it fits the next guy, and then the next guy takes over, and things aren't happening, things aren't good, and they want to change it again. So lo and behold, he dies again, and then everything changes again. So there's a very clear pattern, right? And you can go back and you can look at my other videos where I talk about William Dixon, his book, H.H. Bancroft, his book, and Fraser Magazine, The Original Prophet, the article in that book. I'm reading, I just actually finished that. So when I read these books, I read them 4 or 5, several times before I actually bring them to you guys, right? So, because I want to have a clear understanding of what I'm talking about. So I read these things several times. I just finished about the 4th go around on the book I'm reading right now. And it's on the Golden Bible, right? That's what the original Book of Mormon was called, was the Golden Bible. So that's a really interesting read, and I'll bring that to you guys here in a little while, in a couple of weeks, or maybe next week. I'm not sure, but so yeah. So this 1831 was the last one in here. There's 65 revelations, and that's it. Okay, now let's go to the Brighamite Book of Mormon. What does that say? You're going to be stunned, apostates. So let's start out with the Doctrine and Covenants in the modern day Book of Mormon. Okay, so the modern day Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, the last revelation. What's the number? What is the number of the last revelation? 138, I believe. Yeah, 138. So there's 138 revelations in this Doctrine and Covenants, D&C. I actually think there's more than that. I don't think that number's right. I think it's 160. Let me find out here real quick. Nope, 138. 138. So there's 138 sections in the modern day Doctrine and Covenants. The Book of Christ, the Church of Christ, in their Book of Commandments, there's only 65, right? So you have to question, okay, 1831 was the last revelation in the Church of Christ, Joseph Smith's original church. And in the modern day Book of Mormon, the Brighamite Church, okay, 1978. Look at that. 1978 was the last revelation in this one. So they've been doing some work. They've been doing some work, apostates. So you have to question yourself, question the church, right? Because obviously something is amiss here, right? Something's happening, something's going on, right? And what is it? Like, that's what we want to know, apostates. And so towards the end of this, I may or may not get into some stuff. I don't know, but I'm really disappointed in some of these other ex-Mormon podcasts, right? Because they've really kind of screwed over the Mormon atheists in a really hard way. So, but that's maybe another podcast or something like that. But maybe I'll just save it and won't say nothing about it. But maybe I won't. So you have to ask yourself, what's going on here, right? And so, anytime we talk about Doctrine and Covenants, there's a big elephant in the room, guys. Okay, and I'm sure you all know what that elephant is. Polygamy. Now, you guys all know that I do not talk about polygamy. I'm not interested in polygamy. I don't, it's, whatever, it is what it is. What I can tell you is, in literally everything that I've read and all the books that I've brought to you and everything like that, Joseph Smith, the original prophet, never once ever talked about polygamy, like it never was a thing until 42. Okay, and we're going to get into that here in a second. So one thing I will say about the whole polygamy issue is the original Joseph Smith 100% did not practice polygamy at all. 100%. It didn't, the whole idea of polygamy isn't even talked about until the 1840s, right? So 1842, that would be the second Joseph Smith character, right? That guy, and I would actually really like to know who that guy is, because he is not the Joseph Smith. Like, he is not the original Joseph Smith at all. So there's no mention of polygamy. There's no anything in these old books, right? You have to remember that my area of interest is the 1700s all the way until 1844, when Joseph Smith dies. Anything after that, I'm not really interested in. But as these stories unfold, and as you read these books, and as you start, a very clear pattern starts to form. And this is what I'm not understanding about the Mormon historians, is these guys only take church sources, right? And what is a church source? I actually got asked this on one of the argument pages on, what exactly is a church source, right? Well, exactly what a church source is anything that the church promotes, because you have to realize that nothing is produced by the church unless it's official documents, right? Officially church approved, right? So these are church approved documents that these people are all taking, right? And they're all writing books, and they're all calling themselves, scholars and PhDs and all this stuff, and that's, if you're trying to like stay within the church's mold, right? Within the church's story, then yes, go to church sources, and I do not use church sources at all. I go to outside sources. I'm not interested. I know the church's story already. And I can go to any LDS website, LDS.org, LDS this, Mormon that, whatever you want. It's all out there. You can read these stories, right? So the Mormon atheist takes those stories and says, okay, let's go somewhere else other than the church and see who's talking about these stories. And they've all been construed as anti-Mormon rhetoric, or anti this or anti that. Well, literally nothing that I have read is anti-Mormon. None of it is anti the person, the people, Mormons, right? They're anti the institution. They're anti the hoax. They're anti the dupe. They're duping people. And this is what people are talking about, is how this organization, and they very clearly call it an institution in all of these books, all of these 1800s books. I only read books that are from the 1800s, right? The closer to Joseph Smith I can get, that's what I'm reading, are those books, okay? I'm not interested in Dan Vogel. I'm not interested in D. Michael Quinn. I'm not interested in these other people. I want to go to the source. What does the source say, right? What does the source say? Who is the closest person to Joseph Smith? What is the town talking about? What are the neighbors talking about? That's what I want to know. And when you start reading this stuff, and when you start looking into these papers and newspaper articles, you will very clearly see the Church of Christ, Freemasonry, the original Joseph Smith, and the fact that there's only 6 Mormons in 1830. There's only 6 Mormons in 1830. You will see the link to William Morgan. Like, it's so clear. William Morgan and Joseph Smith, their stories are so identical to each other. Other than the names, it's extremely hard to tell who is who. If you were to take Joseph Smith's name and William Morgan's name and remove them out of the story 100%, you literally 100% have the exact same story. It's very difficult to distinguish those two people other than their names, because they both do the exact same things. They both have their story is exactly the same. And if you go back to Solomon Southwick and you read those books, you will very clearly see the Church of Christ facilitated the 33rd Scottish Rite Freemasons to create the Church of Masonry. I mean, I can't say that any more plainly. The Church of Masonry is today the LDS Church. That's fact. And you can call me crazy, you can whatever you want to do, man, apostates. But until you read those books, you have no argument, and you read them with an LDS ear. That's the key, right there. So there's no mention of polygamy at all. And in the book of Christ, let's get back to the topic here. In the book of Christ, or the Church of Christ, in the book of Commandments, there is no revelation of anything on polygamy whatsoever. Nothing. And these are the original commandments. These are the original commandments. There's 65 of them. There's 138 in this one, the Book of Mormon, Doctrine and Covenants. 168. 1831 was the last one in this one. 1978 was the last one in this one. Joseph Smith, the Brighamite Church, the LDS Church today, is not Joseph Smith's original church. It's Brigham Young's church. Absolutely. And don't take my word for any of this. Watch my previous videos and you will see the books that I talk about, because that's basically what the Mormon Atheist is all about, is book reports. We're doing book reports. These are not my opinions. These are not my opinions, right? I do have an opinion after reading all this stuff and after, seeing all this. Of course I do. But I never say it though on my show. If I do say it, I say, hey, this is my opinion, or this is my own conspiracy theory, right? But we're doing book reports. And so F all you people. I'm so mad that this has happened to my channel, right? That people think the Mormon Atheist can be bought, right? And apostates, you are not for sale. I'm not going to sell you out, because we're doing book reports. And if somebody has to offer me money, and let's be very clear here, okay? I did ask for donations. I did ask for donations on like maybe 2 or 3 of my videos, and that was it. I got 70 videos. On like 2 or 3 of them, I asked for donations. And the donations that I did get were like 99 cents. Okay? And I got maybe 5 total. That's it. I've only been on this channel for 5 months, at best 5 months, right? And to get that to get a $2,500 donation, and then to be told that I can't talk about Psalmonic magic and Freemasonry, I'm either onto something, or somebody's just got a lot of money. And then once I gave the money back, I turned it down, all hell breaks loose. My channel gets shut down twice in 2 days. I'm still having issues with my channel, and it's been almost a month it's been since this has happened. So yeah, I'm pretty pissed. I'm pretty pissed about it, and then yeah, I'm pretty pissed about it. And so I know those people that are on the take. I know who you are. And all of you, when I called you out, got really pissed at me, and just started scrubbing me through the mud and all kinds of stuff, really degrading me, all that stuff, because I know that you were on the take. You effing chump. You're a effing chump, man. And that's why you can't talk about these things. That's why you can't talk about the Church of Christ, because you're controlled, and the Mormon Atheist is not going to be controlled. You can't control the Mormon Atheist. I'll give you, okay, here you go. Give me $1 billion a year for the rest of my life and the rest of my kids' life, and I might think about it. How about that? $1 billion with a B every year for the rest of my life and for the rest of my kids' life and their kids' life. Then maybe I'll think about it. But I must really be onto something if you're offering that kind of money, right? To shut me up. That's hush money. Let's be honest. That's hush money, right? That's hush money. And I returned it because I have more integrity than that. And so as a result of that, I'm not taking any more donations whatsoever. No, we're not going to monetize. Nothing. The Mormon Atheist is not for sale. And this information is free to the public. Anybody can read it. Anybody can look it up. I give you all of my website, or all of the websites everywhere I get these books from, the names of the books, the dates of the books, the authors' names, and you can read this stuff for yourself, apostate congregation. I highly urge you to look up Solomon Southwick, William Morgan, and Elder David Brainerd, because those three authors, William Morgan's book, the entire thing is releasing information on the Church of Christ. It's not these little dumb, silly handshakes and stuff like that. You have to read that book to actually know what he's talking about. And then read Elder David Brainerd's book right after you read William Morgan's book. And then read Solomon Southwick's book. And you will clearly see what the craft is, right? The craft is Solomonic magic. Okay, and so now back to the story here. So there's 132, section 132 in the Doctrine and Covenants is not in the Book of Commandments. There is no section 132. You remember these stop at 65. There's no, and in Fraser magazine, they talk about how they have to venerate the prophet because he's such a bad person, right? And so they, in H.H. Bancroft's book and William Dixon's book and Fraser magazine, the original prophet, they all talk about how Joseph Smith more or less is a whore, right? He's just going around, sleeping with all different kinds of chicks, and he's literally, the R word ing girls, right? And we can't say these words on YouTube, right? So they're literally getting this, and they have to venerate him somehow to be a prophet. And so lo and behold, in Fraser magazine, they say this is actually why they came out with 132, was specifically to venerate the prophet. Now he's venerated. And in Fraser magazine, he puts the revelation, right? It is the same as 132, but it's very different. It's very different. And so you have to wonder, and so let me show you some stuff here about, so the Book of Commandments, right? So it starts out with, it starts out behind, right? So chapter 1, okay, really is chapter 1, right? Well, there is no chapter 1 in Doctrine and Covenants. They're two different chapters, right? They're two different sections, right? So then when you get to chapter 2, Revelation 2 in the Book of Commandments, it's section 3 in the Doctrine and Covenants. Okay, so stay with me. Section 3 in the Book of Commandments is section 4 in the Doctrine and Covenants, right? And they're only a few, some of these are only a couple, like, for example, I'll give you this one here. Section 2 is only, a page and a half, right? Well, section 2 in the Doctrine and Covenants is like 4 pages long, right? And it goes, and they're all like that. Section in the Doctrine and Covenants, all of them all of them are, they're all elaborated on, right? There's words added to them. There's meanings added to them. It's a very different book, right? It's the underlying message is the same in some cases. In some cases, they're totally not even the same thing, right? The names, some of the names in the Doctrine and Covenants, or I mean in the book of commandment, or it's hard to keep these words straight sometimes. The book of commandments, right? There's people's names in here that you've never even heard of, right? And they're all in Roman numerals in the book of commandments. For example, I will read you one that I actually know what the Roman numerals are. Yeah, anyways, you can read this stuff for yourself. You can read it for yourself. A revelation to the church in New York, commanding them to remove to Ohio, given in Fayetteville, New York, 1831. Okay. And a lot of the dates are different too. So you can go in and they're all backdated. So for example, 132 is in all of these books I talk about, the revelation that we call 132 in 1842, they all come out in like 1843. They all talk about 1843, right? That this is when this commandment came out. So here's the thing though, apostates. When you watch my videos and when you listen to these books, okay, or read them, or however it is, I listen to them on audio, and then some of them I'll actually follow along in the book as I'm listening to it, so I can, reference back and things like that, right? So when you read these books and when you're into this, right? Now I forgot what I lost my train of thought. Oh, that's what I was saying. When you read this stuff, you have to understand that these, I lost it again. I got so much going through my mind. I'm so irritated by this entire thing that I can't focus, right? I can't think about it. These things are all backdated. Oh, that's what I was going to say. The stories are different. And so you hear this stuff and you're saying, well, that's not what the church says. That's not what 132 says. That's not what the Joseph Smith's papers say, or that's not what D. Michael Quinn says, or that's not what Dan Vogel says. Well, you're right. That's not what they say, because all of those people are using church sources, and they all use the same thing. They all go to LDS.org or whatever the case may be, and they, and that's it. And so when you read all of these other books and when you read all these other newspaper articles, you will clearly see that, like, literally the entire country is all saying the same thing. They're screaming it. Hey, the Mormons are coming and you better stop them now, because they're backed by the Freemasons and the Church of Christ. And if you don't stop these people, and if you don't stop this organization, and all of these books are just littered with warnings and all kinds of stuff about how this is going to take over the country. This is the whole idea. And this is in the 1820s, folks. This is all taking place, right? That these stories, Solomon Southwick, his story is in 1828. Elder David Brainerd, his story is in 1826, I believe, is when 1827 Brainerd comes out with his book. William Morgan's book is 1826. And all of them are saying, hey, you better stop this now. And look at the church today. Look at how it's manifested itself in today's world. I mean, their little greedy, grubby hands are in every single pie you can possibly imagine, right? I just heard the other day that they owned C&H Sugar. Are you kidding me? I mean, I know they own like literally everything, but I did not know they own CNH Sugar. Maybe I'm late to the game for that. I don't know. Maybe all of you already knew that. I don't know. But I did not know that. So when you buy CNH Sugar, you're literally supporting the Mormon Church, right? I think somebody should make some kind of a manifesto or manifest or something that has all of the companies that the LDS Church owns, and we should all boycott those companies, because this organization owns everything and we don't even know it. We're going out and we're literally supporting the church by buying powdered sugar, man. I like powdered sugar on my French toast. Now I can't eat damn French toast no more. You understand? You see how lame that is? That's so lame, man. And we got it, and they own it. They own it. It's disgusting, you know. And hey, by the way, all of this stuff is bought and paid for with your tithing. So, you know, how does that make you feel? You know, do you get any returns? Do you get any, you know, where's your dividends at? You know, people that aren't even invested in CNH Sugar, did you get a dividend? I don't think so. So 132, back to 132. Sorry, I keep going off on rants because this month has been a crazy month for the Mormon Atheist. And I'm really kind of ticked off about everything that's taken place and all these historians and all these people that, you know, a guy actually said to me, what gives you the authority to say what's right and what's wrong? I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? What gives me the authority? What gives you the authority, Mr. Podcaster, that started out in the whole podcasting ex-Mormon world, and now you're number 2 and you're protecting your space? Okay, well, there's a lot of ex-Mormon podcasters coming out now, and everybody should watch them. Everybody should watch them. There's actually a podcast. The guy that got me started, actually, Latter Daily Digest, right? He got me going, and his entire platform is bringing out new podcasters, right? And you got to watch it, you know, got to watch it. Look them up and see all of the different ex-Mormon podcasters that are out there. And so, you know, there is no monopoly. Nobody's more powerful than anybody else. For one thing, you're on the take, so you can't even talk about stuff, right? You're on the dole. And so, you know, watch somebody that doesn't beg you for money. Okay, that's my recommendation. If somebody's begging you for money on their podcast, turn them off, right? Because this stuff is readily available. All you have to do is look for it. All you have to do is look, okay? There's a lot of podcasters out there that have been around for years that never say anything about donations or money. They're not monetized. They just do it because they want to do it, okay? When I started doing it, I didn't even know you could get monetized. I didn't even know that you could ask for money on YouTube. I had no idea. I didn't even have a YouTube account when I first started. I never even watched YouTube. So, you know, they're out there, folks. They're out there. So, like, you know, you just got to look for them. If they're asking you for money, turn them off right away, especially if they're a nonprofit, because is it really in the best interest of a nonprofit for the issue they're arguing against to go away? Think about that. Let that sink in for a minute. Think about that. How are they going to, if the issue goes away, how are they going to pay their people? You understand? How are they going to pay their bills? How are they going to pay their market? You know, all the stuff. So is it really in their best interest? Stop donating to these podcasters. Stop. This information's free. It's out there. It's out there. Look for it. Look for it. And you'll find it. Okay. Today's show is supposed to be about the Book of Commandments. Okay. And I keep going off on rants because I got some stuff to say. Okay. And I'm just so incredibly irritated, right? I am ranting. So all of you commenters, this sounds like this guy's ranting. You're right, I am ranting because I'm pissed. These people tried to stop me, man, and they tried to buy me. And when I turned them down, they got really mad because they know the cat's out of the bag. The Mormon atheist knows who's on the take and who's not. Believe me, I know who's on the take and who's not, okay? And you can lie about it all you want to, you SOB, but I know. So, yeah, that's it. So back to 132. Let's get back to 132. I'm just ranting. I'm going off. I'm being unprofessional right now. I'm sorry. First of all, I'm not a professional anyways. So yeah, this is YouTube, man. So anyways, back to 132, right? And I don't have anybody controlling me to tell me what I can and can't say. So I can literally say anything I want to. So back to 132, right? So 132, it says it says, I'm going to read the synopsis at the top. Okay, it says revelation given through Joseph Smith. So all of these are given through Joseph Smith. When you look at the Book of Commandments, they all say given to Joseph Smith, right? So not that that's really a big thing, but it's nonetheless, it's the words, they've changed the words, you understand? And so that's really what these are all about, is the wording is different in the Book of Commandments. The wording is different. In a lot of them, the underlying meaning is different. There's very much, some of them are embellished in the modern day Book of Mormon, in the modern day Book of Mormon, a lot of this stuff is embellished. It's elaborated. There's more to it. They've put a lot more in it. They've done a lot of stuff to these. They've really kind of padded them up, right? To make you all think that there's some angelic, garbage going on here when it's a straight up hijack, right? The Brighamites hijacked Joseph Smith's church, because the Brigham Church 100% is not the original church of Joseph Smith, right? The original Joseph Smith church is called the Church of Christ. And so there's countless books, countless books, countless newspaper articles. Go to any newspaper archive, anything, right? Newspaper archive, whatever, right? I personally went to the state of New York newspaper archives, and you will see some fascinating stuff. Play with the words, right? The key words. Look up Church of Christ, Martin Harris, Oliver Cowdery, David Whitmer, Joseph. They called him Joe Smith, just so you know, if you're going to look up Joseph Smith in the Church of Christ. In the 1800s, in the early 1800s, in from like 1823, I think was the earliest one that I found of Joe Smith. It doesn't start changing to Joseph until about 46, I think, is when it comes to Joseph. It starts saying Joseph, right? And so I really encourage everybody to do some investigation, right? All of you Mormon historians out there that call yourself PhDs and scholars and stuff like that. What is your scholarly background when all you do is look at church sources, right? I'm not a scholar. I've been at this for 5 months now, and look at all of my videos, right? And yes, they're not done in I don't have the fancy cameras and the ring lights and the microphones and all that stuff. That just goes to show you how lame you are, because you do have all that stuff and you have never found any of this stuff. You've never found any. One of those people didn't even know there was a Book of Commandments, and they're a scholar, or they say they are. And you don't even know that there's a Book of Commandments. I mean, the Church of Christ, how can you not know that when you've been doing this your entire career, your whole career? It's mind-blowing to me. It's mind-blowing. And I'm the one that gets made to look like a fool because I am the new guy and you're protecting your careers. And so you try to discredit me by saying I'm an unlearned man, right? Does this sound familiar, apostates? I'm an unlearned man. Well, you're right. I am an unlearned man. And you're a learned man. And you didn't know there was a book of commandments. So suck on that, learned man. So you're right. I am unlearned. I'm not a scholar. I'm not a PhD. I've never even been to college. I've been to some trade schools, a few different trade schools, and I found the Book of Commandments and the Church of Christ Book of Mormon. That's very different than the Brighamite Book of Mormon. And I use outside sources, and you can watch any other podcast. None of them use outside source information. None of them. Everything that you see on those podcasts are LDS members that have died or whatever, or LDS members that have written books, right? And yeah, they talk about the weird stuff, right? They talk about the weird stuff. And so they're the king of weird, right? Well, they're only telling you half of the story. And in Fraser magazine, it actually says that telling you half of the story is worse than lying to you. Telling you half of the story is worse than lying to you, because it's easier to accept half of the story than it is the lie. So therefore, they've accepted the lie because it's only half of the story. So the Mormon atheist goes all the way, and we tell you the whole story. We tell you what's really going on. We tell you that is Solomonic magic. There's no doubt about that. Once you look this stuff up and you read those books and you look into this of what it really is, Joseph Smith, hands down, unequivocally, was practicing Solomonic magic. The book that I just got done reading, I'm not going to give you the title of it just yet, but it's about the Golden Bible. That's the only clue I'm going to give you, is it's about the Golden Bible. And in there, they talk about William Morgan. Well, why? Ask yourselves, apostate congregation, how come in all of these books, William Morgan keeps popping up? Why is that? Right? He pops up everywhere, all over the place. And in the book that I'm reading right now, they actually say that the Freemasons killed William Morgan, and the Church of Christ assimilated the Freemasonry into their church as a sign of protection. Solomon Southwick says the Freemasons facilitated, or the Church of Christ facilitated the Freemasons in killing William Morgan. And that Smith from Vermont is the killer of William Morgan. That's direct quote out of Solomon Southwick's book, right? So watch my video, Who is William Morgan and Why is he important to Mormonism? And you'll see, and read that book. If you really want to know where Mormonism came from and what Mormonism, today's modern day Mormonism, you will read these books. And Freemasonry and Solomonic magic, because in Freemasonry, when they refer to the craft, right, the craft, that is the magic of Solomon. That is the magic of Solomon. No Freemason will deny that. No Freemason will deny that. So hence Solomonic magic. You can deny it all you want to, but now you're just looking like a fool and you're selling books. That's all you're doing, is selling books. And you have to protect your reputation, you know? And so you're going to discredit me and call me stupid and call me illiterate. And what was the word? The exact phrase was, I forget. It's not even worth it. I really wish I could remember, honestly, damn it, because it pissed me off, man. You pissed me off, dude. And so I went way off topic today. I'm sorry, but it's taken me almost a month to get this video out. And in this month, I've been shut down, no kidding, 3 times. This particular video was supposed to come out yesterday, and I wasn't even able to put it on YouTube. So like, it is really irritating. So, yeah, these people kind of tried to shut down the Mormon Atheist in a very hard way. Let me tell you, in a very, very hard way. And then lo and behold, the very next day, literally every podcast in freaking ex-Mormon world got shut down. So, you know, I don't know, but I find it very suspicious that mine was shut down twice in one day. And the next day, 3/4 of all the podcasters in the ex-Mormon world get shut down. And yeah, they did come out with the video and all that stuff and everything else, but I find it very, very suspicious. You know, that's all I'm saying to you, is I find it very suspicious. So anyways, I highly recommend people getting a hold of the Church of Christ. You can actually get these books, the Book of Mormon and the Book of Commandments. I think they charge $6 for this one and like $3 for this one or something like that. And you can, if you actually want to be in the Joseph Smith Church, go to the Church of Christ. I really recommend going to the Church of Christ, because I was impressed. I'm not religious. I don't believe in religion whatsoever. This is why I'm the Mormon Atheist, right? I was a Mormon, and now I'm not. I'm a full-fledged diehard atheist, right? I don't believe in this stuff, right? At all. So you have to question, right? Why would the Mormon atheist promote the Church of Christ, right? Well, because the Brighamite LDS Church is a complete scam. It's not a church. It's not a religion. It's an institution. It's a corporation, right? Everybody knows it's a corporation. You even watched that Fairview, Texas thing the other day, where the city council people in Fairview are also calling it the LDS Corporation, because everybody knows it's a corporation. So, okay, guys, I went way off topic. I went way off subject. I did sort of kind of touch what I wanted, you know, the nuts and bolts of what I wanted to talk about. I'm not going to do podcasts every week anymore. Yeah, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm just going to come out with them as I come out with them from now on. One thing I am going to do is I am going to go through these books that I talk about, and I am going to do like chapter by chapter, because I have gotten so much flack from ex-Mormon podcasters themselves about how I'm just talking crap. And I'm not, dude. I'm seriously not. These are legit books. And just because when you look up the Pentacles of Jupiter, Dan Vogel, and it comes up with one page, so now you discredit the entire thing? F you, bro. F you, man. That shows your level of intrigue, is what that says to me. You already made up your mind, and now you've written 20 books or whatever on this, and now you're going to shut out anything new. I thought you were a scholar, man. Let's see your dissertation, Dan Vogel, and see. Let's put it out there, man. People call you a scholar. Well, how scholarly is that of you to completely shut out any information whatsoever, right? Because you have already made up your folk magic mind, right? This is not folk magic. There is a very, very clear distinction between having a rabbit's foot in your pocket and summoning spirits. Okay. I mean, if you still want to believe that this is folk magic, maybe you should write a new book on how it's not folk magic, Dan Vogel. Let's start there. Okay. And we'll go that route. But there is no doubt in my mind that you do not know this is Solomonic magic. There's no way that you could not know that. How could you not know that after 30 years of doing this? How could you not know that? It boggles my mind, unless you're just trying to sell books and you're on the take and you can't say stuff. I don't know. But all right, before I get myself in any more trouble, I'm going to go and let you guys go, apostates. I have not said like and subscribe this entire episode. So yeah, like and subscribe to the channel. There is no way, and I do not accept donations, so don't even try to ask. Some of you have sent me messages as how can you help out? Well, how you can help out is by just watching my videos from start to finish. If you can't subscribe, just watch them start to finish. That helps the algorithms, maybe like them. If you can subscribe, and don't be afraid to subscribe. I know a lot of you people, I get messages all the time, daily almost, about how you love this work, but there's no way in hell you could ever subscribe to my channel because your grandma will know, or your wife will know, or your husband will know, or whatever the case is, right? Just watch the video start to finish. That's all I ask. Maybe like it, and that's it. That's the only way that you can help out the Mormon Atheist, is by liking and subscribing to my channel and watching the videos in full. Even if they suck, because some of them do suck. I will be the first one to admit that. The video quality on some of them are terrible. I ramble on a lot. I have a hard time articulating what I'm trying to say. You have to remember, I'm new at this apostate congregation. I'm 5 months into this. Okay. I never even watched YouTube before I started this. Never once did I ever watch YouTube until I started doing this channel. So this entire concept is new to me. Okay. So that's the only way that you can help the Mormon Atheist. And share the videos, share them, get people interested. If you don't share the videos, show somebody Solomon Southwick's book. That's how you can support the Mormon Atheist, is by showing somebody Solomon Southwick's book. Introduce them to Elder David Brainerd. That's how you can support the Mormon Atheist, is by changing the subject, changing the conversation. We're not interested in polygamy. I could give 2 F's if you wear garments. Those are Solomonic symbols, though, just so you're aware of that, right? And then there's symbols on the symbol. So just so you know that you are actively practicing Solomonic magic by being an LDS member. A missionary is a walking symbol, right? Everything is symbolic. All of these, everything has meaning. The colors, everything has meaning, right? The Book of Mormon is blue. It has meaning. There's meaning. It's called money magic. The money magic of Solomon, right? The Book of Mormon is blue. The color green, right? The Tabernacle Choir, it sings, they're always in green or white or red, right? These colors have meanings, apostates. Don't think that they're just random colors because they look pretty. No, they have symbolic meaning to this stuff. All of this stuff has meaning. The words that you're using, they have meaning to them, right? It's not just about the handshakes. It's not just about there's a lot more to this. The words you use, the colors that are there in the temples, the colors that are in the general conferences. All of this stuff has meaning, right? all I can do is put the videos out, and people can try to shut me down because I'm right. I'm very right. And they try to shut me down, and that's why they did it, is because they don't want to hear it. You know, okay, so I'm done. I'm done. I'm done. So like and subscribe to the channel, Apostate Congregation. Share the videos, watch the videos start to finish. Don't ask about how you can donate, because there is no way to donate. I do not accept donations anymore. So in the videos that I have before where I say, please donate to my videos, there's no way anymore to donate to them. So even though I say it in those videos, those are past videos. Some shit's happened since then, and we don't take it no more. So, all right, apostates, that's it. I'm done rambling. I'm done ranting. I'm done with all this. And next episode, I really want to talk about the Golden Bible. So we're probably gonna, and give it a week or two, and I'll probably come out. Maybe I'll come out with it tomorrow. I don't know. I'm ready to go with it. I have a ton of stuff that I've already planned out. I've already got scripts for it all. I've already got all that. You have to think, I've been set back almost an entire month of doing weekly videos. So I have this stuff ready to go. I just have to do it. I just have to go live and do it. And so, like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see you guys next time. Thank you, Apostate Congregation.